this while I bring in Andy.
Hi,
Why,
guys.
hello everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to tonight's live stream. Delayed by a few minutes. We just had a significant power outage here in our local area, so bear with me while I bring Andy in here.
In media res, it's called in writing. Yeah. We're gonna hit the ground running.
All right. And the reason I did that is because Facebook gives you like what 10 minutes before sorry, let me mic you up there now.
Hello.
There we go.
10-minute leeway. There you go.
You get a 10 minute buffer with Facebook, and then they cancel your stream. So
yeah.
If you're watching Facebook tonight, sorry we're late, but we're here now.
We are here.
Just bring up my other window here. I gotta get my comment window going here.
We are at the mercy of Mother Nature.
I know.
Unless it was some dude that hit a pole or something and knocked it out.
Well, there is that. Let me see if I can use the old.
Funny weather there, or
it looks a bit iffy, but nothing like too extreme.
We had a really hot day yesterday, and then
today it dropped like.
Oh my gosh! Did it ever? Right back to what 14 degrees or something today.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow,
comfortably cool.
Oh yeah.
Wow, it was 27 here today.
Ooh. Yeah, you'll get the cold drop tomorrow.
Oh, I know, and then we get it in the arse. Then we get it in the arse. It's almost hurricane season too. It's supposed to be a nasty one.
Yep.
Let's try this one. Let's see if this will still work.
So, have you seen the new Rings of Power yet?
I have.
My favorite thing about it is it offends my very white right-wing buddy. I thought buddy. Well,
that's really unfortunate, and by unfortunate I mean sucks to be him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I need to get a new one. That's not.
No, I mean it's Amazon fan fiction, right? But I kind of like it.
Yeah,
I read something. I read something somewhere that they didn't have the rights to the Silmarillion.
That's correct. Yeah.
Which makes it a little bit. I wouldn't say
make it trickier,
difficult, but the show that you're getting is based on apparently the appendices and the notes from the other books.
Right, and I don't know if you guys ever went this crazy on it, but there's 13 volumes of the history of Middle Earth that were compiled by Tolkien's grandson, and. It's a lot like reading the encyclopedias of flower descriptions, but there's some really cool stuff in it, and a lot of this is actually it's in there.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and the Silmarillion's way back in time, so this is it's a neat idea to kind of a place to jump in on, fresh idea. It's an IP now. As soon as they make that's what people need to understand, that these things are separate from the novels, and there's a huge interest in trying to capture that Marvel style or Star Wars style universe.
I think we have an issue tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just noticing right now we are. It looks like the broadcast was deleted on Facebook.
No way. Are we live anywhere? We're probably live on Twitter.
Yeah, we are. If it's only deleted on the group, then we should be okay because we're rocking on the Twitter.
Yeah.
So. All right. If you are watching on the Facebook group tonight, I'm so sorry. Go over to our Facebook page, or better yet, come over to the YouTube channel, which is, as I said last week, now fully migrated over to the new Fandom Power podcast channel.
It is.
I've been having fun playing around, making some short videos. I don't know if you guys get a chance to check out the every Luke Skywalker action figure.
Yeah,
I did. It was actually kind of shocking that there are that many Lukes.
Yes.
More shocking to me was that there were deliberate choices that I made to not include some of the multi-packs because they were the same figure.
It's a straight up reissue.
In the same line. I tried not to use the same figure if it was reissued multiple times with the same line, but then by the time you get into like the amount of parts reuse, repaints and repacks, it was hard not to. So the count on the video is 135 3.75 inch Luke Skywalkers. But the reality is there is way more than that, especially when you include, there's no variants in there. I didn't do any variants, and I didn't do any foreign releases. International releases, I should say. That was all.
Consider that there's North just American. Like 90 plus in the original line. It's mind blowing that there are more Lukes than there are in the original line in the entire collection.
That is to. Can you edit that? I wonder. Right in the. sorry. We're discussing whether or not we can actually amend our broadcast time within the Facebook group to get it going again midstream. I'm not sure if that's possible.
Maybe not.
I don't know either.
We'll try though.
Did you bring notes tonight?
I got mental notes.
That's good.
That's me.
I'm just mental.
Yes.
We're fairly free flowing.
You want to talk about? We're going to stick with this for a second here, talking about being kind of crazy here. We just had like a really cool influx of like some new action figures that just kind of came out that are kind of caught my attention. Those of you who know me know that I am a like real sucker for clones. You put a new paint job on it and I must have it. Stormtroopers, not so much. And then we got the fifth brother here from the Kenobi wave. Now these two figures from the same store, same day. Now, can you see? Is that focusing well enough?
No, not for me, but
so let me do that. Let me bring this up for you. Here's the Clone Trooper. This is from GameStop. So the Edge price on this. This is with my Edge card. $40.49 for a clone. Now, I've been collecting the Black Series since 2013, since day one. Remember when Clone Troopers came with 2 rifles and they were $24?
Yes,
right.
I do.
And arguably,
there was the briefest time on the Hasbro. It used to be the Hasbro Toys store. And when I first started in on it at 2015,
right?
For whatever reason, it was a glitch in their computers, and I was getting Black Series figures for $19.95 Canadian because they hadn't figured out the exchange. Oh, that's cool. And I bought a whack of them off of Hasbro Direct at the American sort of retail, which was, that's $20 for an action figure is still pretty high, but it was palatable. But double that. And how much was he?
Arguably, so the fifth brother, which is probably a more expensive figure to produce because of the number of paint apps.
Well, then
he's got a silver. He's got a silver paint app. He's got some red, and then he's got his face. That's what, 3 different colors.
Right.
So I mean that adds up. Whereas this clone, it's a white body with a black visor, and
it's
arguably
also a mold that they've used.
This is what I mean.
Time so far, right?
What I can't get over this is a $40.49. The fifth brother, $32.99.
It's because they understand the market. They understand the market. That's why I can't get clones. Because they're priced way up, and then collectors grab them.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? If I see them, I'm going to grab them too. But it's part of the reason that there's so few.
Yeah.
And they don't. I don't know. I don't know if those prices, especially at the same retailer, are the retailer exploiting that.
I think on some level, I mean, for us here in Canada, the gaming greats, I mean, the GameStop is your source for these figures, that they are GameStop exclusive. That's the only place you can buy them.
Right.
And I think that there is, some exclusivity points to be awarded there.
It just feels like they're getting back their edge points or whatever. Like
maybe.
A little. That's really the only place I can afford to buy a lot of them because of that discount. 10% is 10%, man. Like, and I did just pre-order probably $1,000 worth of stuff coming up.
Let's take a second and check in here with the comments here. We've got one here from Red Benson over on YouTube who says, I embrace the age of fan fiction on television.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Red Swenson. That's Eric. If you guys haven't checked it out, Eric was our guest host on the Vox Machina episode. Coincidentally, the most watched episode on our channel at over 1,300 views.
Yes.
Well, it's actually technically it'd be over 1,600 now with the 300-ish additional views on the new channel. Yeah. And I mean, we did talk about that. I mean, that is a perfect example of fan fiction.
True.
Coming to television.
To life. Well, animated life anyway.
Keeping it nice and light tonight. I got a couple of offline comments after last week's show that basically the feedback was, hey, when you guys don't, script stuff, it's a lot more, it was enjoyable. Not to say that the other stuff isn't enjoyable, but it's a different vibe when you're just kind of, riffing, I suppose.
No, for sure.
He's back again. That and Rogue One.
That and Rogue One.
Rogue
Do-
One.
Do
Can
we
talk about that for
consider?
a second?
Sure, we can talk about that. We could talk Star Wars all night if you want. We don't even have to get to She-Hulk.
I mean, okay, so really limited release in North America. It's not in, the re-release. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
The
Everybody
IMAX
knows,
release?
right? The IMAX re-release.
I wanted to
of Rogue
ask
One.
you about that. You had talked about getting tickets.
Yeah, it's
You
not in
you
my.
haven't. I was going to say you have an IMAX theater out in
I
Halifax.
do. Unfortunately, it's not in my sector,
Oh.
if you will. But it's a limited release
Gotcha.
in North America, and in the first weekend, it cracked the top 10 IMAX films of all time.
Oh wow!
So I mean, this thing has legs. It's got staying power, and I think that people that were just sour on Star Wars to be sour on Star Wars are getting a chance to experience it. In a new context, it's so strong. If it was the only Star Wars movie that we had, it was some weird other alternate universe.
If Rogue One was the only Star Wars movie we had,
that would be a hell of a movie, right? Like it's top notch.
It would be
it
would be the new hope of that generation, like for sure.
I absolutely. It has so much heart. It's funny to look at the interviews with Tony Gilroy regarding Andor, saying, "Yeah, I'm making this because I'm not really a Star Wars fan," and people go, "But it's okay to say that. That's totally fine." But this guy is making something that's more like human, for lack of a better word. In terms of like the common man in Star Wars. He said, "I'm so interested in the guy that does." Laundry, or the guy who's washing dishes in the diner. Where the Jedi is interviewing and he's like, what are normal people doing? Well, how does the oppressive empire, and we scratched that surface. We
got a little bit of that with the Bad Batch.
Right? And definitely, you get into that in Rebels and some of the Clone Wars, but it's such a neat idea that, they're saying it's definitely the most grounded thing that they've ever done in terms of Star Wars, and I've heard several articles them say, talking about the Andor TV show, you don't need to be a Star Wars fan to even jump into this thing.
Man, given what we do here on the show,
we're not a Star Wars show.
I would hazard a guess, though, like everything else in the Disney era of Star Wars, if you are a fan and you are familiar with, I bet you there's going to be Easter eggs aplenty popping. I mean, the trailer alone has me excited. When I see Republic gunships dropping out of orbit, I'm like squealing like a schoolgirl, like wee!
Oh yeah,
it's very exciting for me.
Another one from Red.
Eric says, the farther we get from the Skywalkers, the better Star Wars will get, in my opinion.
Yes and no.
You know what? I don't think this is it. I don't put all of my Star Wars fan cards in the Skywalkers to begin with. There's so much more to Star Wars for me right from the. Don't get me wrong. You know me. I've said it before. Of the classic trilogy, Return of the Jedi. That's the one that I love. And I love Luke Skywalker's role in that movie. I love him. I didn't react the way that I did to that episode of The Mandalorian when Luke came back. I've never reacted like that to anything before.
No, not
anything. So don't get me wrong. I do love Luke Skywalker, but there is so much more about Star Wars, and
you can love Luke Skywalker and still love everything else that's out there.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, for sure.
I have no problem with weaving in and out of that.
No, me neither.
Forever.
That just, I love the connective tissue. I love how it strikes that. And I mean, nostalgia is big right now. Every generation has their own sort of nostalgic beats. But I mean, stuff like that, it's playing a harp, man. Ding on my heart. And I love it.
Did you guys read that novel that was a bunch of short stories? And they were
from a certain point of view.
Specifically about Luke Skywalker.
I did not.
It's like a guy in a bar telling a story about he saw Luke Skywalker one time, and they're ridiculous. Wow. Like he was riding on the outside of a spaceship, and he cut a mountain in half with his mind, and just But it's really an interesting sort of idea that,
like a third party take on Luke Skywalker.
You're going to have these
elevating
the mythology,
right?
So it's okay to have like this, you could be on the complete other side of the world where you hear a whisper of this thing that,
Right.
but like you say, the connective tissue. I have no problem with the ghost of Luke Skywalker sort of floating in the background of everything they do. And I have no problem just like following Larry the janitor as he mops up the Death Star for a season.
Absolutely.
I'll do that too.
I still believe we need that like Wampa Pro Shop movie from Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
You know, your one destination for all things blaster.
What was it that Adam Driver, Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin the technician, right? Like, come on, we could do some like, why not? And again, in my world, there is room for both Star Wars and Star Trek.
Sure.
Lower Decks. Lower Decks is a great example. We're focusing on ensign level. We're not talking about just like rank and file crew. They are officers, but they're all junior officers.
Right.
They're not on the command team. They're not on the bridge. The show is already one big joke when it's like, we're the guys who do second contact. So there's a joke already, but the fact that they are focused on so much lower, there's the joke again. The lower deckers,
people on those ships,
everyday,
right? Exactly. Yeah, it is a little bit more everyday, or it's a different perspective on mythology, and I like it.
Yeah, and I always thought that too, in terms of like when we were gaming and Robotech, like the one time that I had created like characters for like hundreds of Ikazuki command character.
Carriers. Yeah.
And I had the shifts that the planes were flying, like, and I always thought of that, like who's cooking while the second crew is on the bridge, like you always see the main characters of any given sort of whatever
your heroes,
right, they're like on screen most of the time, but they got to sleep, and somebody else definitely, like the in terms of Robotech, the Zentradi are always looming, say.
Yeah,
so somebody's on the bridge at 4 a.m. That's got to
somebody took the night watch.
All the Harry Kims of the world.
Interested in that, and so that's like a perfect position, sort of like Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, like adjacent to the storyline, and I've always loved that idea.
I agree with you, and it's an exciting time to be a fan of anything right
Almost
now.
Anything,
it Rings of Power. We now have the most expensive television series ever made. Which, by the way, article came out today. I guess a part of that cost was securing the rights. That it was ludicrous money just to get the rights. So that could be part of it. But I will say this: those first 2 episodes, production value through the freaking roof.
Oh yeah.
Which is a sharp contrast to this week's episode of She-Hulk, which I'm gonna talk a little bit about once we get into it.
So
that being
I'm
said,
glad that's not just me too.
Okay. No, it's not. It's not just you.
I thought maybe there's something wrong with my eyes.
Well, keeping it nice and light this week, same as last week. We're gonna unpack the 3rd episode of She-Hulk tonight. We'll take a few minutes at that, and then before we close off, we did put it out on our social media this week. We are taking all of your viewer questions. So if you guys have a question about anything about related to the show, maybe you have questions related to us as the hosts. You want to know more about us, about our likes, and try to keep it pop culture focused. But if it's relating to how do we handle the production of the shows, how do we do an audio podcast, we can even try and take those questions as well. So it's kind of an AMA or an AWA or AU.
I'm a Leo, and I like beach lit walks on the moon.
Well, gentlemen, why don't we bring it? Let's look at. You got some slides there for us.
I do got some.
Let's bring those up and let's get into it.
So this is the official portion. So welcome to Fandom Power, folks.
Oh yes, that. Oh yeah, that little thing.
We never even launched, did we?
No, that was
smash that like button.
Watch our videos.
All right, so we're back again with episode 3 of She-Hulk, and this week it does take a bit of a turn.
It did.
We kick off again at the Supermax prison, and we find She-Hulk going in, and we get our first Easter egg right out of the gate, A113, which is the Picard room.
Oh,
so kind of Disney related.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
We get in, and she has a big back and forth with Blonsky about, why'd you do that and why'd you do this? And on her way out, she breaks the 4th wall again and says, this isn't just going to be a cameo of the week. And then she cites off,
starts recounting.
We had Bruce, and then we had Blonsky, and now Wong.
Right.
So
this is my show.
Don't forget whose show it is.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah. Then we get a little bit of a montage of the, I guess, it kind of pokes fun at the real world aspect of it, because you got
Oh, absolutely.
like, some support, some against, and then some downright nasty.
I actually thought that was fairly topical, to be honest.
Yeah,
that they actually did that little bit of a let's talk about feminism in the world.
Yeah. And of course, they end it with the last guy who's like, well, yeah, I'd smash that.
Yeah.
There's those two out
Listen,
on the
dude, She-Hulk smash you.
yeah.
Right.
I did get a kick out of the one though, Team He Hulk.
Oh,
So much out there. But and then the other thing, I don't know if any of these random commenters are like hidden Easter eggs, like people in production or writers or artists or whatever. But
well, what's curious to me is like the social media profile handles.
yeah,
Wait till we're down the road and we're watching some other like street level hero, and then they actually post something on their social media and it's one of them.
yeah, like Dom the Bounty Hunter.
Right. Turns out it's the Punisher or something, right?
Yeah.
Like something crazy.
Dominic Fortune.
But then we find our lawyer friend here, She-Hulk. She gets back into her office and called to Holloway's office, where we find the chauvinistic Dennis, who has come to seek help.
Right.
And he's laid it out that, he's lost a little bit of money that he gave to this girl. And
well, how much was it?
Yeah. We get the number later, but he paid off her Passat and took her to Bali and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then he says, well, to be honest, she looked like Megan Thee Stallion.
I'm going to be 100% honest here. So I did not know who this woman is. And I still don't. I don't know who she is.
She's pretty famous in the rap world right now.
It's not somebody I'm familiar with.
Yeah. It's new stuff, so
It is.
I don't blame you. It's kind of weird poppy rap stuff.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting though that has the MCU taken shots like this before, like with like other real world people besides Stan Lee?
I don't know.
And I don't mean taking shots. I mean like
bringing
done the whole like
actual,
they exist in that world
celebrity
as well. Yeah,
No,
playing themselves.
I'm not sure that's a good point. Actually,
Is this
I'm
a
not
first?
sure.
It might be.
Might be
a first.
But he goes on to say, she did look like that. And then, of course, Jennifer Walters, she just starts laughing at him like, really? You thought you could land Megan Thee Stallion?
Yeah, the real Megan Thee Stallion.
You thought she drove a Passat.
It's a nice economical car.
It is a nice economical car, but I don't think she would be driving in one of those. But just in the nick of time, Wong shows up because earlier in the episode, Nikki, she reached out to him and she says what she sent him was a thirst trap with a bunch of books.
Right.
Because, librarian.
Yeah.
So he comes in.
Did you like his LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
His LinkedIn profile. That was making the rounds this week.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
But part-time librarian at Camartage.
I love how she tells him, don't tap your nose.
Yeah, don't tap your nose. But it does leave a question because he's like, oh, before you ask, no, I'm not erasing anyone's memories.
I'm not doing that again. Yeah.
But this in the timeline falls before Spider-Man No Way Home.
Isn't that funny though,
so
right?
that means Wong has attempted it and just barely squeaked by on his own.
Right.
Which is why he said to Strange, don't do it.
Don't do it. Oh, that's a great contextual clue.
Yeah, the question is, what did he make everyone forget?
Right. I can't remember.
That's maybe you and a few billion other
people.
Maybe
it was Thor Dark World.
Maybe. Can we talk about did you have more to talk about on this one? On this slide before we go? Before we get out of the office, because I want to talk about Jennifer's entrance into the office. And I mean her physical walking in the building.
Statuesque.
Did anybody think that the refresh rate on their TV was off?
Yeah.
There was like a very jerky, and I thought there's something wrong with my TV.
Yeah.
And then she looked at the camera and started talking, and I'm like, what happened?
Yes. It's funny. It reminded me, quite honestly,
the first trailer.
Initial trailer.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are in the process of trying to clean everything up, but they didn't.
This is a case of, just like hallway guy in The Mandalorian. Is this
it's
going to
showtime.
improve? Is this going to improve over time?
Yeah,
Right,
go back in a couple of weeks and
like, are we
maybe
gonna?
they just got behind schedule with the improvements, and it's showtime. Like these things are bread and butter.
So
Got to be
I
on
am
Wednesday. So
I am
Thursday.
not the only one who saw a noticeable decline in her appearance.
I wanted to talk about that because I thought I
Okay.
was nuts, and then I looked at Lauren, and she was like, "No, you're not nuts." And then now that you guys are at least confirming it, I'm like, "Okay, it's not." Honestly, it looks. I still enjoyed the episode a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Same. I said it right from the get-go that I didn't feel that the CGI of the trailer was so horrible that it took me out of it.
No,
but
it should have at least been consistent across the board because this was dramatic drop in quality.
This is my asterisk point was, hey, they listened, or maybe they had already planned to, whatever the case may be. Disney, Marvel went back and they did improve the CGI. So those sequences that we saw in the trailer, now we've seen some of those in the actual show and know that, they really did improve it.
Yeah.
So to have them drop back, it was very kind of jarring.
A little bit it was, yeah. It was the first thing I noticed there, her transformation. And then I was like, whoa, wow. But still, I had a lot of fun. Irrespective of that, I quite enjoyed the episode.
As did I. So, okay, now that that's out of the way.
alrighty.
Wait, Andy, you didn't see any of that.
I didn't. My TV's a lot older though.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. But
well, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just spoiled.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But Wong, he does the old double tap. We'll save the magic stuff as a second resort.
Right.
And moving on, we find our other friend Pug. He is researching for the elf case where Dennis has been defrauded.
Yeah.
And we get to see a Megan Thee Stallion in a bar fight and transform into the elf.
Nice.
And
I thought it was quite funny.
It was. The elf is played by Peg O'Keefe, who you may have seen before in Doom Patrol. And her first role was narrating Curse of the Blair Witch.
Do we know who she was in Doom Patrol?
In 1917, she played Dr. Peggy, I think.
Oh, really?
It was a one-time part, but...
Okay, fair enough.
But again, you watch those QR codes, because this week, that one leads you to Savage She-Hulk #2.
Would she be a part of, what's her name? Not Elastigirl, whatever the stretchy girl's origin?
I believe so, yeah.
I thought so, too. Okay. Just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to distract. I'm sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, watch those QR codes because they're giving apparently a free comic every week. So
nice.
You can get caught up on her old adventures.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the office, Dennis is sit down and he's like, giving him the number. And he's like, just tell me.
Right.
He's like, well, I'll say a number. And
you just tell me if it's higher or lower.
So he's like, okay, you paid off her car. How about $50,000? He's like, no, higher. 150. No, higher. 200 grand. He's like, no, a little lower. Well, it's 175. He's like, really? That's a house in some states. And so he's like, I want to proceed with the lawsuit, and off he goes. But then a couple seconds later, he comes storming back in and says, you know what? I want to drop the suit. How to change a heart? It's just money. I got a story.
This is a running sort of theme throughout the whole episode.
Right.
Can we just call it shenanigans?
I would say shenanigans works.
Yeah.
Because he ends up getting a call from the actual guy down in the parking lot where his truck has been towed.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently he parked where he shouldn't have. And he turns around and just yells out security. But our elf friend here, I guess Rune is her name? Runa?
I don't recall, to be honest. I didn't refresh on the episode before tonight. So it's all good.
Runa, I believe. But she then walks out of the office disguised as Pug and proceeds to tell the ladies in reception that harassing women is his favorite thing to do. But he's out just in time to see her go around the corner, and she unmasks
him. Yeah.
And says, see, this was an opening shot. You know what you have to do. And then it's a really awkward, come on, ladies, that's not me. I don't do that.
Right.
You know me.
I'm still blown away that that's the warehouse manager from Superstore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Then we switch over and we're outside the Supermax, and we got reporters everywhere. And Jennifer Walters, because she's not in She-Hulk form, just kind of slips in unnoticed until the last minute. And they're like, whoa, that was her. And they start firing, questions. Were you rejected by the Avengers? Were you this? Were you that? And based on those
They
questions,
start becoming headlines.
yeah, the one
Yeah,
reporter's
yeah.
like, oh, rumored to be rejected by the Avengers.
Yeah.
Is it
It's like, oh, that's terrible
is it-
reporting.
is it this scene where they're like, is it true that you got your powers in a mafia hit or a botched mafia hit?
That's the
Oh,
next
yeah,
one.
It's
yeah.
coming up. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
I did like that one.
Yeah, that was real.
But yeah, the news reporter that does that is KNBS News. So that's kind of
yeah. Wonder what the BS stands for.
yeah,
Fantastic.
headlines on the fly. But inside we find Emil Blonsky chilling, and all of his pen pals that have turned into soulmates have showed up to support him.
Yeah, all 8 of them.
Yeah.
He says it's 8, but I only counted 7.
And then when he does say, they're by better eighths.
Yeah.
So
Is he the 8th?
is he the eighth?
Okay, maybe that could. I
Maybe.
guess so. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
But
I just assumed that when he said, my better 8, like, okay, like 8. There's 8 of them, but
8 in total.
I only see 7. 7 ladies, anyway.
Yeah, but noticing on the docket of witnesses, Wong is supposed to be up first, and he's nowhere to be found. So they move on to the other folks, and we get Officer Sean Holt, going on about how he's done so well and started a reading group in the prison library.
Oh yeah. All the stuff that he's done to rehabilitate.
Yeah, and then in the library, he started groups there, and then the final guy.
Instead of making toilet wine, they're making toilet kombucha.
Yeah. And then the final guy, the Carl Cowart, I believe his name is,
Right.
prison guard. And he's like, he saved me from a bad marriage. And he's just bawling his eyes out. But
Get it out, Carl.
Hello, girl.
yeah, get it out.
So
Just
good.
let it flow.
His therapist.
Blonsky's still helping him.
Yeah.
But then finally, Wong shows up and pops through the portal. Sorry, I'm late. Lost track of time.
I'm gonna pick on it. No, they're still dealing with her. I want to pick on that sequence a little bit with the parole hearing. Are we going back to the parole?
Yeah, we do. They kind of jumps back and forth now between this and then the
Okay,
elf
I'll
trial.
pick on it later then.
So they're in there, and the elf Runa, she's like, wants it dismissed because she has diplomatic immunity.
Yeah,
But the judge shuts her down and says, "No, we're not in Asgard,
right.
so
right.
that doesn't apply." And then she proceeds to stand up and say, "Asgard is not a place, but it's people."
Oh yeah.
And the judge shuts
The
her down
Odin
again,
speech.
and he says, "We don't need Thor's speech here."
Yeah.
Denied.
Yeah,
The trial will proceed. And then he leaves, but he comes back out and says, "Oh, you know what?
I've changed my mind.
Change my mind. Let's do
She's
this."
got the same line every time. How about change
Yeah.
heart?
But Pug is quick to catch on and yells at her. He knock this off.
Yeah.
And her lawyer's like, "Get down. It's wrong. It's illegal to impersonate a judge."
And then he's like, "It's good for our case."
Yeah. And she just kind of smiles and then runs around the courtroom getting chased by the bailiff. So she's having fun. But we jump back over to the parole hearing, and Wong has laid it out for them that, he forcefully took him out, but he willfully came back. It was his
Yep.
decision.
Yep.
And then they're like, what about the fact that you've just admitted you let him out of prison? That's a crime. And sling rings and out he goes.
I need to go.
And then the final guy, he's like, "Well, what about the abomination? What if you happen to turn back at him and just start rampaging?" And he's like, "Let me lay your thoughts to rest here."
Mm-hmm.
And She-Hulk, she's like, "No, don't do it." And instead, he just quietly takes his Crocs off, sets them down.
Yeah, arranges them quite nicely, by the way.
Yeah, and then proceeds to jump up to the abomination size, bumps his head on the top of the cell, and this causes everybody to freak out.
Oh yeah, because they think he's gonna try and make a break for
Yeah.
it.
But he's like, see, I've got it under control, and picks up his little shoes.
So here's now this is the inverse. All the complaints I had about Jen, way to go with the abomination, by the way, because I loved how much the abomination now looks like Tim Roth.
Yeah.
We've already seen this look twice before. And I know I may have fawned on it once or twice before, but I love the fact that he now has a more classic comic appearance. And I love how we're just supposed to take that's the way it's always been. And that worked for me. I'm totally invested. Yep. That's what he looks like. That's the way it's always been.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, then of course he complies. He de-abominations and
De-abominates.
yeah,
De-bomb-
grabs a little blanket
de-bominates?
to put him around himself. And
Sure.
He
And then-
defuses his abomination.
yeah, but Walter, she spins it perfect. She's like, look, this proves that he could have, just gone up at any time, smashed out of here, but he chose not to.
Right.
And more, it's leaning like, yeah, he is rehabilitated.
Do we
believe it?
How do we feel about how easy it was to convince the parole board when the parole board was a hard no when they walked in the room? Or at least the head of the board was like
the head of the guy had like a personal grudge.
Yeah, he was like, this isn't going to take very long.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Emil Blonsky as a character. I've read a few Hulk comics where he's the antagonist, but I do know him not to be like a super genius, I believe.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit of a different take on his alter ego, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would dangle. I mean, they could be heading for a Dark Avengers because he would fill that Hulk role.
Yeah, that's totally viable.
And possibly be painting them like anti-heroes. But he would certainly make an awesome She-Hulk villain.
I think so.
I believe I know what we'll get to the end of the episode, but I think I know where we're going with respect to that anyway.
I just had a moment of like, oh, like it was so simple. Wong shows up last minute late, says a bunch of stuff, recognizes that he has committed a crime himself, and his testimony is enough to go, okay, he's released.
Yeah, like that's the linchpin.
Oh, really? That's it?
It's not the
there was
strongest
other
writing in the world.
testimony, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there was. And yes, it's only a 35-minute show.
Yes, this week's was.
Sure, 35-minute show, and it is lighter in tone and all of those things. But it was like after they spent enough time in the last episode for Jen to actually lay out, this is how I'm going to build a case. When she interviews him, and suddenly it's like,
well, that's gone out the window.
Well, it didn't technically go out the window. Those points were brought up, but that it was just, the testimony of another criminal. Wong technically is now a criminal. Has gotten Blonsky. Yeah, we could ignore that part.
Yeah.
I guess you get a pass when you save the planet.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
A couple times anyway. But after all this, of course, everybody calms down and they're like, all right, we've heard what we've heard. We're going to reconvene tomorrow and make our decision.
Right.
So at this point, she heads out again, and this is where she gets hit with the mafia line.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like, is it true you got your powers from a mafia hit?
It's so good.
Which is like the nod to the original. Yeah. But she heads off back to Legalese, the bar there, and they're sitting down, and Pug comes in. He's like, how did you deal with this man for so many years? And they're like, I dreamt about murdering him. And he's like, really? Is he that delusional? And they're like, yes, he's that delusional. And she does her little fourth wall break here, like, oh, look, we're tying the A and the B story
together. Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
But he gets an idea to put Jennifer on the stand to testify to the fact that he's that delusional.
Right.
And so it is crossing nicely, but it feels more like the court drama at this point.
Yeah, this would be like what happens after when was it Law and Order after when the judge hits the gavel.
Yeah.
Cut to the bar. There's everybody hanging out.
Yeah. And like in a contrast to the Blonsky thing where they're in like the Supermax prison.
Right.
This is in a full court setting.
That's true.
Yeah. So she gets on the stand and delivers what she has to. And Runa the elf is a little bit shocked because she ends up having to pay it back, the money. And she also gets 60 days in jail for impersonating a judge. Yeah, that was cute. And then we flash to the back row, and it turns out Megan Thee Stallion has showed up just to...
All the comments surrounding, like, is Jen Walters really our best chance?
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Why didn't you contact my boys like I told you to? Again with that, right?
Right. They really made a point though of like, and I mean, I felt like it was almost overdone with him, like the level of sleaze.
Yeah, and it keeps going.
But then
too.
here's the payoff for it, right? Where finally it's like, oh, okay, we needed to paint this guy so like one color so that we know when this line came, yes, he really would believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they move on though, and as they're he takes notice that she's there, the Megan Thee Stallion, and on the way out, he's like, "Do you think I have a chance with her,
Dude?"
Because he's referred to himself as what, a New York 10 and an
Oh
LA
yes,
11.
yes, yes, he
And
did.
then he goes on, that Elf's just going to get a slap on the wrist. It's too bad they couldn't take away her powers or something,
Right.
which gives Jen the idea for an inhibitor chip,
Yes,
which we've seen him before in
That's
other
right.
Marvel
Yep.
movies.
Yep.
Like Doc Ock utilized one for the arms
to retain his
control over them,
control. Yeah,
which when it burnt out, that's what made him go all wacky.
exactly. I just like though how it just, again, I guess it's that super fantastical, everything is so like plausible in the MCU that it's just like and you'll just have to wear an inhibitor, like it's an already existing thing, which, as you say, technically it is,
Yeah.
but it's almost like a throwaway line.
Well, it's so immersive. We get those, like Reed Richards talks about the negative zone, and we're just like,
Right.
It's
In the quantum
Okay.
realm.
we need to go to heaven and get Johnny Storm back.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect irrational thing to do. Reed. Let's
Totally.
do it.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
We do
All
that
that
all the
shotgun.
time.
But we'd catch up with them the next day, and turns out, yes, parole is granted as long as he never turns into the Abomination again,
Right.
and wears a inhibitor chip to make sure that never happens. Should he ever break it, he's right back in jail.
Well, I mean, there's a big old dangly carrot if there ever was.
Yeah.
Sure.
But Jen, she tells him, good, I just never want to see you in the news again. And he says, well, it's not a bad thing. You can kind of spin the narrative if you're in there.
Right.
Because she's been skirting it, hoping everything will just go away once this particular hearing is done.
Right.
But it's not. So, taking that advice, she ends up going on Citizen News Tonight.
Now, granted, she looked a little better in this sequence than she did walking into the office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit.
And she gives, they ask her, where did the She-Hulk come from? And
Yeah.
some random news guy came
Some
up with it in like
random
2
news
seconds.
guy.
So it's stuck. But then they're like, okay, coming up after the break, She-Hulk tells us about her diet and exercise routine. And you hear
As
like,
they cut
what?
to black.
What?
Yeah. After the cut. Huh?
Yep. But she gathers her stuff. She's on her way home, going down a dark alley. It's not a good scene for a lone woman normally. And somebody runs up, grabs her around the neck, and she kind of freaks out for a minute.
She has the traditional kind of
And then she's
reaction
like,
to it.
Oh, wait. And
Oh,
she
wait.
hulks out. And I love the little scene here where everybody's like, oh, crap. And we get our first glimpse of the Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking
man.
Crew.
Yeah, man.
That's an interesting take on them too.
It is.
Looking nothing like their comic versions.
No, not at all.
Well, they're wearing the similar color scheme, right?
No, that's true.
suppose so.
Yeah.
And they do have the little W on their sweat or on their shirts.
Did you guys rob an Asgardian construction worker?
And they're like, yes, so what?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a stark contrast to their actual comic book origins,
Mhm.
because Wrecker had the crowbar and they all held onto it during a lightning storm,
Oh
That's
wow.
right.
which is what gave them each their powers, which is like a fraction of his power.
Okay.
Yeah. A question or a comment, I guess, from Eric.
Eric says a Wrecking Crew is a great choice for a villain set for this show.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in a few minutes we're going to get an even little bigger dip into that world. Right? There's another
Yep.
member, sort of the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
We were sitting there, well, you keep going, Andy, and I'll get to it when it
Okay,
comes up
fair enough.
organically.
But yeah, She-Hulk trounces them thoroughly.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
There is definitely something sinister going on
yeah,
here.
because Bulldozer tries to jab her in the shoulder with a needle to try
Yeah,
and get a
yeah.
blood sample, I'm guessing. But
Who do we think wants the blood sample?
that's the question, because they do get back in the van afterwards and they're like, the boss isn't going to be happy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
boss.
So who is the boss?
Who do we think the boss is?
Absorbing man.
You think so?
100%.
See, I didn't go that way with it.
That's
but
who's missing from the Wrecking Crew right there.
True.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't go that way with it. I
It's
went
a nice
another way.
sort of like, it's the proper tier of villain for She-Hulk. And
Okay.
I don't mean to say that about She-Hulk. I mean, let's make her an A-list hero, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of their comic books, he's the perfect tier of villain for her.
He's like a start-off villain.
Yeah, and very challenging too because he's got a crazy power set. I firmly believe they're talking about absorbing him.
We got a couple comments from Eric. Eric's got a couple of guesses here. One is the Thinker from the Hulk movie. You mean the leader?
The
I think
leader.
he means the leader.
Yeah, the leader.
And then the other one just above that, Ross. Do we think Thaddeus Ross?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's
Given
not,
his position in government, I don't know. Is that?
I mean, I could see him, even above sort of absorbing man in the hierarchy of these guys could be just hired out. But certainly Ross is a good bet because we know from the comics that he's the Red Hulk and somehow he acquires Hulk blood. So perhaps my money's on absorbing man though.
The Ross thing is intriguing to me because my first thought was, given the way that the current Marvel television landscape is shaping up to be, my mind went right to Kingpin. You know what I mean? Like a street level guy, street level boss, city crime boss. But the Ross thing, now that Eric brings that up, I mean, Ross as a guy in government probably could not do that openly and would not want to commit government assets on some sort of black op.
Yeah,
but he could
to a group of people who just robbed an Asgardian construction crew.
He could make a deal privately with somebody that's
if they don't Hulkbusters that character, they may have him be the sort of government liaison to the Dark Avengers.
I guess so, yeah.
Because I mean, they're sort of setting up with that Julia Louis-Dreyfus character from that the government, some sort of shadow group of the actual government, is the one that's assembling this.
That is putting this thing together,
team. So I could definitely see Ross leading that, and then like dangling the carrot of Emil Blonsky in the same sort of storyline, who we already know is sort of rumored anyways. We don't know, but rumored to be a member.
Follow-up comment from Eric says Ross can't go after Banner, so he picks a softer target.
As if she's gonna she would crush him. But no, I agree with that. I mean it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. And,
it does make sense.
It does tie into the larger sort of Hulk
the Hulkiverse
world, yeah. I really want a Rick I want a sidekick.
Rick Jones?
I need a Rick Jones. I haven't had one in X number of Hulk films. Not even a Hulk Lou Ferrigno Rick Jones. So I'd like to see that character.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
especially cool. Because he totally becomes a Hulk himself. And
A-bomb.
Yeah, he's one of the he was the first Avenger with 0 powers, and a lot of really good Rick Jones stories out there. So that's another character I'd like to see.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I like the whole idea that, who knows? I mean, we've got a bunch more episodes. We got this is only with a third, third of 12.
12, I think.
Yeah, 12 for the season. So we got lots more story to cover.
Yeah, and here's an alternate theory: if they're going for like a street level gangster type, they could always bring in Tombstone.
Yeah,
Tombstone. Because then you set up your Hammerhead would be good as well.
Yeah.
Silvermane if they get to that point, but.
The one that made me go, and you can ask Lauren, the one that made me go was seeing the Wrecking Crew and going, Absorbing Man. And I was kind of even scanning the group to see if he was there.
Is he there?
Yeah, right. And when they said boss, I was like, well, he's definitely the default boss of the Wrecking Crew, if you will. He's the only one with actual powers.
That totally makes sense to me, too. Well, maybe we'll get more on that next week then.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully.
But as for this week, we then...
I did enjoy... I like these. These were cute.
Or John Romita Jr. art. I'm convinced. I haven't actually gone through the credits to check, but I'm convinced
to see,
that he's been doing the art.
You like his...
I'm not convinced that it's him. I want to find out, though.
His pen pals are, he's going away on the transfer bus.
Yeah, but they're going to catch up with him later anyway. Fun thing to point out here, and it is actually pointed out by the descriptive audio.
Oh,
The cup there that says, or should say Avengers, says
Right.
Avengers.
Avengers.
So
So whose
Nice.
lipstick is that on the rim of the cup?
don't know. But since some of the other scenes have popped up throughout the show, maybe we'll find out eventually.
Nice.
A question from Facebook tonight. It's our dear friend Scott, who says, where do you guys think this show takes the next phase? Or is it just filler?
Oh, good question.
Well, I mean, on a technicality, this is solidly part of phase 4.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is like, you can introduce so many characters through this. Like
I think so
a
too.
random vigilante that just needs representation because he knocked over a bus station or something.
Let's just for a second here now. We are on the West Coast with the show, are we not? Are we like on the West Coast or the East
Yeah,
Coast?
no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. We got some
We
Wonder
are
Man
on
coming up.
the West Coast, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we
I think
sure
you
though?
hit the
Because
nail on the
Charlie
head there.
Cox is going to show up, right?
That's true. But like,
So
I'm
it
a
could
little.
be in the New York area.
Maybe it's just the weather is really nice there, and
Maybe.
it has this West Coast kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And mind you, her
I believe
office
it.
is like a high rise.
We
It
sort of haven't even
is.
qualified that yet, have we?
No, I guess not.
No. But certainly she's going to be in the next iteration of the Avengers on the big screen.
I would think so. That yeah, and I mean that's
Even
something
if
that the
it's just-
Netflix shows just could not achieve and didn't want
Right.
to achieve.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if it's tried into the grander scheme of phase 4 or 5, it's a they've had great success introducing characters and developing characters like this. So I
Right,
think it's
right.
a good way to ingratiate people and then have, for the same reason that Miss Marvel wasn't filler. I strongly believe that the end of Miss Marvel introduces mutants canonically, but I also know that she's one of the young Avengers, and they're setting up these other mini franchises. They're going to have
Yep,
3 more
yep.
Avenger movies. They're going to have 3 more Young Avenger movies. They're going
To
to have
have
3 Dark
these
Avenger movies.
Super
they're set-
teams building one super team at a time.
Right, and that's
They
what they're
have
doing.
that.
They're teeing up.
Yeah,
And at the
laying
same time-
the groundwork anyway.
By having reminding us that like the Hulk is integral to this, that
Yeah.
the Abomination is integral to this.
All these pieces
Is
are
it a
still
story
on the
that
board.
needs to be told? That remains to be seen. We've only got 3 out of 12, 3 out of 9
Yeah,
episodes, however many it is. It's and at the same time, when I get weird about Star Wars when I'm like, I ask myself that question: is this a story that needs to be told?
That needs to be told. Right, right.
And with comic books, it's so vast. There are 800 Spider-Man issues. Like there are
900.
Yeah, there are 350 stories there that didn't need to be told,
I think that question.
but the writers just had to fill pages like that. Month.
There you go.
Like, there is that too, right? So
It's funny you mentioned that. because I'll come
Deadlines
up here in a
and-
second.
or
Yeah.
the fact that the sheer volume of material that's out there, you really do come down to what haven't we done.
right,
And that's how you just get like weird stuff
Right.
getting thrown at the kitchen at the cupboards to see what
Right.
sticks.
exactly. And so
I don't think that this-
time remains. Like, is it need to be told? I don't know, but I'm having fun so far. So
Absolutely. I don't think She-Hulk fits into that category. This is, hey, we're just tossing this out to see if it sticks. I think that there is something deliberate and intentional here. I do think that, as you say, she will be part of a larger, a big screen ensemble.
Yeah.
Whether that's the next iteration of the Avengers remains to be seen. Probably will be the case. Maybe alongside the Young Avengers, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I do think that she has a place going forward, even if it's just simply that's the new Hulk.
Yeah.
It's the new Hulk for
Well,
the
right.
casual
Been around
viewer.
long enough, she's due.
Right.
I mean, and it's that there's that one comic. It's like the all female Avengers, and that
Yeah,
that
of
doesn't
course.
bother me at all. But
Yeah.
they certainly we have Riri Williams.
Right.
We have Miss Marvel. Sorry about Eric's comment. Put it back up. He's got a good point there. But and we have a female Thor. So and it could be part of that too.
Eric says that the Absorbing Man was a big fixture in the Shield show.
I
Not
remember a
canon, but
little bit of that.
still
And
a
I checked-
hurdle to get over.
Part of the
Yeah.
problem with that is I checked out early in that show. I
I
feel
think
really
we all
bad.
did. Andy,
I
you stuck
checked
with
it
it a bit
early.
I
more.
stuck with it. I didn't quite like his portrayal seemed a bit too low for me. Like he wasn't like overly powered. He was just there.
Yeah.
I
He's-
checked out after season 1. That's honestly, I haven't seen anything
mean-
out of the first season.
Absorbing Man is a Thor adversary. That's
He is.
how
He's a
powerful
Thor
that
level
is.
guy.
He's a Thor level adversary.
Is he like the android robot from DC? The
Red Tornado?
No, the one who can absorb powers.
I
was a
always
villain
forget
in-
his name.
It's not
I know what you
Amazo.
mean.
Yes, it is.
Amazo.
Amazo. Yeah,
That's the
Amazo.
worst
Is
name
he
ever.
the Marvel version of Amazo?
Flesh
I
and
guess.
blood version, I
He's,
guess.
Or is
he's
Amazo the DC version of absorbing man?
He was Enchantress, the Thor villain, the Asgardian Enchantress, grants him his powers,
Right. Okay.
and he literally
Take on the properties of
Right.
anything he
he
touches.
tunes
Yeah,
Wolverine
yeah.
by grabbing his claws and turning
Oh,
into
wow.
adamantium. Like it's
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's nutty
the way-
power up. Yeah.
The way they portrayed the quote unquote absorbed man in Incredible, just the Ang Lee Hulk,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
where he just started sucking up gamma, and no, not quite right.
No.
Well, you didn't like the
he
art
once
house Hulk
touches
movie?
Mjolnir and becomes solid Mjolnir
Yeah,
skin. Like
Uru.
yeah, he
Uru.
becomes solid Uru metal. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Lauren says, "Hey, your wife Lauren, who's watching right now with you."
Oh, yeah.
She says, "Kagan McLeod is the artist who's doing the credit art."
Thank you, baby girl.
Lauren.
Awesome.
Do we know anything about this gentleman?
I don't actually.
I don't know anything about this.
Good job.
It could be a lady.
Excellent work.
That is, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. It absolutely could be old lady.
Yeah, it's fantastic work, whoever it is.
Eric's back one more time.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. And everything else was at the time. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not bad in hindsight. Okay.
I really
fair
like
statement.
Coulson a lot as a character.
Yeah.
I did too. I thought Coulson got done dirty in the movies, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
It didn't have my attention enough. I'm not sure what else was going on at the time. Also, having it on regular TV, which I haven't had in I can't
ABC,
remember,
man.
Yeah.
ABC.
that
yeah.
made it hard to
That was
watch.
a rough tie-in. Like when they
Yeah.
tied it in, you have to see the Winter Soldier before next week's episode. Oh,
That's where it started
Right,
to get shaky for me, and
Yeah.
and not having like cable or regular TV, sort of just it was so hard to keep up with that it. That's why I didn't see it. I don't think anything but the premiere of Inhumans as well.
mm,
I went back and watched Inhumans now that it's on Disney, and to be honest with you, I quite liked it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
I did. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I could see what they were going for. The biggest
letdown is when they cut her hair in the
well,
first
there you go.
episode.
I mean, take Medusa and then cut her hair off for the
Yeah,
whole season.
yeah.
What?
Like,
What did you
okay,
do?
They're saving money.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We don't want to have to animate that hair every week. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
tough character for me because that's one where you get to see Black Bolt think in the comics because
Oh,
he can't
yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
and you don't get any sort of that action from him. And
You get this fancy. You get a bit of sign language, I guess, and
They should have just hired like Fred Savage or something to do his voiceover.
right. Winnie.
he is the
Winnie, Kevin. That's every episode ever. I just did all 7 seasons of the
that's
Wonder
hilarious.
Years.
Wow. Have we? You got any more?
I do. I got a couple.
All right,
more.
let's go through it. Let's keep going.
We get
Keep
through our
going.
credit art, and we get to
Oh
apparently
my
the scene
god!
that
Yeah,
everyone
this
hated.
one. I didn't hate the sequence. I didn't hate it. I
like this sequence because this is another
man.
instance of her kind of fangirling.
right. She gets to be the.
She just signed an incredibly popular client.
Sure, and she gets
and
to
she
be.
gets to dance around with her.
She just gets to be a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, she's like, "You're more fun than my other lawyers." And she's like, "I will kill for you."
That line, "You're more fun than my other lawyers." That was a good line.
Yeah.
The "I will kill for you." Well,
That's a fan thing. There.
come on.
I would have said that to a couple people I've met. But
I probably
People
have.
have met that I just want to kill. But...
Stanley, I will kill for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a thing to say. It's a bit. I mean, if it's literal, but it's
Yeah.
not. We know that. Like
I think the better part in this sequence was the fact that she's in an all glass office and everybody on the outside were like, "What?"
Especially it's Holloway, right? He walks by. He's like, okay.
it's
The
a
boss.
But again, she just signed this client like in a mega $1 million deal.
I thought it was cute. It reminds us, like, it certainly humanizes the character, and this is a very human show. This is
Yeah.
part of the thing is her struggling with this other identity. So she's going to act very human. It's the same. It's the same thing as being obsessed with Captain America's sex life. She's still
Her
very
wanting,
Right.
spending the majority of the first episode talking about going back to my life. I want to be a lawyer. That's what I do.
right.
And here she is doing it.
Yeah.
So it grounds her for sure.
Eric says, apparently this was a gift for Tatiana Maslany, who is a huge fan of The Stallion.
Well, there you go.
Okay,
Cool.
that's fair. I accept
really
that.
Cool.
That works for me.
Yeah. And for those who are upset about having her twerk on video,
That's fine.
let's not forget Marvel Comics.
Oh, yes,
once made her jump rope naked.
The naked rope jumping.
Yeah. And again, going back to that pages to fill, it was several pages of this before they actually get into the story of that issue.
Yeah.
So
it was a different time. It was
one of
a
my
different
favorite
place.
comic covers of all time was the sensational She-Hulk #1, where she breaks the fourth wall on the cover and says, "Buy my comic.
This is your second chance,
right? Or I'm going to
if
come
you
to your
don't buy
house,
my comic, I'm going to
rip up all
your
X-Men
X-Men
comics."
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the flip side to that one, the 50th issue, the final, there's a variant cover where it says, and it's the same pose, and it says, "All right, bring your comics out."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's that. And again, if people have further objections to that, let's not forget there are 10-hour loops of this.
Oh God. Oh
yeah.
Dancing Zemo.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Okay, it's completely forgivable.
So I have no doubt that we're going to get like 10-hour loops of.
What did we have? Like a 10-second twerk?
No
yeah,
problem.
something like
Yeah,
that.
it's fine.
Maybe
It's totally fine. Just
CG,
God,
CG
guys,
twerking anyway.
get the CG back up to where it was in episode 1 and 2. What happened?
don't know.
It was just such a like, something just happened, but I just don't know
I mean,
what it was.
perhaps they were saving money on the just walking around stuff, so that when they get to the "I've got to punch the Hulk into space," it looks clean.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
might have to pick your battles.
maybe.
I don't know.
Lauren says, I will watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, back to back with the other one.
And Eric said, don't forget Emo Spidey.
Emo Spidey.
Yeah. Right,
Oh
right.
man.
Yeah, there's got to be 3 musical numbers in a Spider-Man movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was episode 3 of
Nice.
She-Hulk. All in all, I would say I give it 7
7 Hulks.
7 Hulk
I
fists.
give it a 7 gammas on the Geiger counter.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
That's
in
what I
there. I'm in around there too. It's definitely what it's advertised to be. It's advertised to be a sitcom. It's advertised to be a legal show, and it's got enough of the other stuff going on that I'm enjoying it.
It's
I
still
picked
fun.
up very few She-Hulk comics per se, but I never, it was never a character where I was like, there's not many characters I can think of where I was like, I dislike this character. Get them out of my comics.
It was usually the villains for me. I don't like
A
you,
lot of
villain, which
times,
meant that they were good villains.
Yeah.
I had a sort of a love-hate relationship with Tony Stark for a long time. I just was like, why is he always whining? When Peter Parker whines, I get it. Peter Parker is me. I can't pay my rent. I'm having girl troubles. I get Peter Parker. I've got millions of dollars in this crazy giant brain and all the technology in the world, and Pepper Potts fawning over me. I'm going to drink till I'm blind. I always had a problem with Tony Stark in terms of that.
Get it together, Tony. Jesus.
I really liked Rhodey as an Iron Man at first before War Machine. I really enjoyed that, especially when they revealed that it was Rhodey at Secret Wars.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Well, we've knocked off She-Hulk. We've got a few minutes left here, and I thought if for those of you who are still following along and watching along, we'd open up the floor to any viewer questions that you may or may not have. Otherwise, this could go pretty quick.
Yeah.
Of course, we could just fill some time while people are deciding whether they want to
Sure.
chitty chat or not. Right. So, did you guys catch the? No, I want to go back to Andor for a second. There was that little blurb that came out earlier this week with Diego, where he was kind of narrating, sort of, what the show was going to be. Did you guys catch that this week?
I did not.
It's only just a couple. It's only just a couple minutes long. Yeah, it's almost like it's basically a little trailer that has an intro by Diego.
Nice.
We got a question.
We do.
We do have a question.
Oh, yes.
Eric
From Eric.
says, For the Q&A, you get to produce a 12-episode mini-series of any cartoon with unlimited budget. Name the show and cast it. Wow.
Whoa, and
Thanks
cast it.
for leading with a huge one. Okay,
That's
so
next week's episode.
we've got to take a cartoon. Wait, no, I'll put some thought into this because there's a couple that I could probably. Okay. 80s cartoon. Does it say 80s cartoon?
It just says a 12 cartoon.
Said as a cartoon. No. Put the thing up again.
All right. 12 episode
mini series of any cartoon. Now, does the mini series have to be animated? Or are we talking taking that animated property and making it live action? Because I think that's the underwritten, but I may not be. I could be wrong. Eric, tell us what we're looking for here.
Is a live action adaptation of an
12
80s cartoon, even, or modern cartoon? That could be. Ooh.
Wow.
That's a really good question.
So just as a throwaway, and I'm not going to cast them because it'd just be too long. I'd like to see G.I. Joe done properly. And I would also like to see Transformers done properly. And they were very close with the opening sequence of the Bumblebee movie, the Cybertron sequence.
Okay.
You give me a movie, 2 hours of just that. Basically do the 86 movie in CG. I'd be happy with that. Other cartoons that I would like to see done as a live action. I believe there's something Voltron-y sort of in the works somewhere. That would be cool, but I love giant robots. So that being said, obviously the Robotech thing.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd like to see a 12 episode miniseries of a live action reboot.
The animated series reboot.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So I kind of imagine reboot as being sort of ancillary to like Tron. Similar
kind of what
similar
I was
concepts,
like,
right?
I was thinking, what if Disney got a hold of this? And I was thinking something like that. Of course, it wouldn't be live action today. Is actually an animated movie, right? I mean, let's face it.
True.
There was a European car commercial came out. I don't know, was it a year ago, 2 years ago that basically used the Dungeons and Dragons characters from the animated series.
Yeah,
that would make for a pretty cool mini series.
Yeah,
the kids get sucked into the carnival ride. Meeting the dungeon master, Venger, Tiamat, all of that crazy stuff, and then getting home at the end of it.
Yeah,
because they didn't actually get home in the series. They wrote a script for them to get home, but it never got animated. Yeah.
Lawrence is a live action
Smoggies.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to educate me on the Smoggies because I don't think
that we were all about pollution.
Oh, okay.
Are they the bad guys from Strawberry Shortcake?
Wasn't that the Purple Pie Man?
Well, that might.
Yeah.
Man,
I was picking one. Yeah, I would go with a live action in Humanoids.
Inhumanoids.
Yes.
Wow. I don't think I ever watched a single episode of Inhumanoids.
At least the first 5 arc, you got to watch it.
Okay.
It's like kaiju's coming to take over the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Well, Eric,
we'll cast one.
Great question. Now, as Hank just said, let's put the question back to you. What's your choice?
And while we're waiting for his, I would cast Ben Kingsley as Augur.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm familiar with Augur because of the figure line.
Yeah.
The big purple guy. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like
purple
to see an actually good Scooby-Doo movie.
I don't know. The James Gunn's one weren't bad.
It's not too bad, I guess.
With the Matthew Lillard in the first one. Yeah.
Well, he was in both of them.
And then he did apparently a bunch of the animated stuff right up until the most recent one.
Yeah, and he didn't get a call for.
Yeah, not even. By the way, we're making this movie and we're casting somebody else.
Yeah.
But I guess you know what? When you're an actor, it's your job. You're not going to get all the jobs all the time. I guess. Cyber 6, great show after your time.
I don't know. I was still in my time.
I agree. It was out of my time. I have no idea what it is.
I'm aware of it, but I'm not familiar. You know what I mean? But hey man, if it's got a good story and great stuff, there's always so many properties that can make.
Oh, you know what? Now that I'm looking at pictures of this, I remember seeing this.
Yeah, it was part of what was it? It was right around the time with the animated Spawn and the Max.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it an HBO thing?
I thought it was like
I gotta say, like guilty pleasure, Ben 10. I really like Ben 10 a lot.
They did a Ben 10 live action. No, not Ben 10. Sorry, Max Steel. They did a live action.
Yeah.
Ben 10 though would be great.
Yeah. It's a guilty pleasure for sure. It's a really good show.
Can we get like an over the top ridiculous Johnny Bravo?
Oh,
Nice.
Yes.
Want to see me comb my hair real fast?
Real fast.
Mm.
So here's a shot of Cyber 6. I don't know if that translates well off the screen.
Okay.
She's got kind of a Kate Beckinsale kind of underworld thing going on, I guess.
A little bit.
But live action Laugh Olympics.
Right up there with the wacky races.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we could run them back to back.
Yeah.
We could run them back to back. All right. I think we've played that one.
I think, yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else got more?
Any other comments? Come on now.
Yeah. We will do
All
a
right.
show
Seriously,
on
anything.
absolutely
There's, everything is sort of on the table tonight. If you guys want to throw some stuff at us, we're here to entertain you.
Well, if you're watching the History Channel tonight, the 3rd season of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch kicks off.
Oh, that just sounds creepy.
Terrifying as
Skinwalker.
hell.
Wow.
It sounds creepy.
It is.
Have you
creepy.
guys been following the Artemis 1 drama? We're going back to the moon this week.
I have
guess.
not.
Something about they're sending up dummies just to see how they're handling the rocket trip first.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I heard
So-
something about that. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Artemis 1 was supposed to launch Monday, and they had a hydrogen leak, and they had to scrub it, a faulty sensor, I guess. And then it was
Is
supposed
this
to
a
launch-
NASA mission or is
It
this a private
NASA
thing?
mission. No,
It
it's
is? Okay.
absolutely, and it's the
Not a SpaceX.
No, it's the largest, most powerful rocket ever built, and it's supposed to launch. Now they're talking about next Monday or Tuesday. It was supposed to go today at 2:00, and it didn't go. But I don't know. It's kind of neat, something to check out. This mission is going to be a 32-day mission. They're going to take it to the moon, orbit the moon, bring it back, and land it. It's a kind of a different thing. And if everything goes well, they're going to send 4 astronauts to the moon next year to orbit the moon for 40 days, the longest space trip ever for humans in terms of outside our
outside of not
outside
the
of
Earth's orbit. Yeah, yeah.
And the following year, land a man and a woman on the moon for the first
Excellent.
time in 52 years.
Wow, that's very exciting.
Exciting stuff.
The
Yeah,
first time.
man. Right. We can talk about that when the government isn't listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
Okay.
mention that base on the other side.
Here's a good one for you. This true story. This happened just a couple of weeks ago. Andy, you and I, we live pretty rural. We live out in the boondocks. So at nighttime, we can see the night sky.
Mhm.
Stars are nice.
We just had a flyby of Starlink in the last couple of weeks, and the local Facebook groups lit up. Oh my God!
Yeah.
What was that?
You saw
I
my
didn't get to see
Facebook
it.
post when it went right over my head of my apartment. I flipped
It
out.
was like crazy. Like the amount of
never
people
seen
that are
it
like.
before.
I think the funny thing is that they're regularly adding satellites to it, so it's only getting longer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
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 I saw a time lapse photograph of it, and
Oh, that's cool.
Well, unfortunately, you couldn't see the stars for it.
Oh, because of the
Right,
It's
it looked
bright
like
enough.
the Earth had zebra stripes.
yeah. It
And
would.
And I thought, like, I did some research after because I couldn't believe, like, it looked like it was below the clouds above me, when in fact it was an illusion.
Yeah.
But and I had really crappy pictures on my Facebook if you want to check it out, and I took a video of it. It's very crappy as well.
I shared it to our other page. Off
yeah,
the path
nice.
normal. It's
Oh,
still out
thanks.
there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But then I did some research, and I was like, "Wow, those are bright LEDs. That's crazy that it looked." And then I came to
Who's
learn
flying that drone?
There's no lights on it. That's what I thought. It was a drone with like a LED strip behind it, but there are no lights on it. In fact, that's sunlight reflecting off of solar panels. And that's
Comment from
insanely bright.
It is.
Zach Jacobs watching on YouTube, who just lives here in town where we live, says that was hilarious reading the UFOs.
There's a YouTube video of me literally screaming like a girl. What the F is that? What the F is that? Fetch me my shotgun. I was freaked right
You know
out.
what's
I had
funny though?
no
Like,
idea.
I mean, so we all have our like close encounter stories, whether it was, last week, last year, in childhood. I've had some like unexplainable phenomena, and I mean, I can't fault you for like, what was that? I can't fault you for that
Remember
because,
the tape, Wes? The voice on the tape at my
dude,
dad's house?
do we have to set this up?
Maybe.
Do we have? I know this isn't the right show. We should be doing this on another show,
On
but
a different show.
when we were still, I think we were still just
in high school.
in high school. Yeah.
15, 16, maybe 16.
We're like ridiculously committed to role-playing games at this point, where we're doing like role-playing weekends. Show up on Friday night, play all Saturday, do it again on Sunday, go home.
Yeah.
We're like, and this is like pre-internet, like long before internet. This is like pre-CD. We're still talking cassette tapes here.
Cassette tapes, you got
cassette tapes. So we're going to record the gaming session for posterity because we want to be able to listen to this back, because visions of grandeur. This would make a great book. We could write a movie out of this. This would be awesome.
Nerds, man.
We are so we could have made our own Vox Machina. Damn it. Anyway, we get going, and there may or may not have been some alcohols involved.
Yeah.
And then things kind of went off the rails. One of the guys got into there was a joke that was cracked, and then this round of and we're all guys, so all
That's
teenage
right, yeah.
boys
Yes.
chanting, porno. Porno. So the whole thing transpires, and then we go to play back the tape because we think it's hilarious.
Right.
And halfway through the porno chant, the voices, our voices, collective voices, and there's 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
Gets really, really low.
Right.
And this, like, I don't know, ethereal, like male voice.
So deep. And
Yeah.
so like back from the microphone. Like,
yeah.
hard to
It's just
explain.
like
so much space around the voice.
Is like, shut up or I'll break your
fucking neck. Yeah, we just said it at the same time, so it's true. It was the crazy, and I had the tape for years, and I would play it for people, and they would be like, "What the hell?
What happened there?" Yeah. And you run through all the scenarios in your head. You go through all of like the logical ones, like, was this a brand new tape? How many times did we? Because you know what happens? I couldn't afford a blank tape, so I just found one of my sister's tapes that she's never going to miss, and I put some cello tape on the tab so I could record over it.
Yeah. Was
it a phantom, recording coming through on the new?
Right.
You go through all those things, and you're like,
was Elman throwing his voice?
Yeah. So freaky.
That was one of the most harrowing things that's ever
I gotta be honest with you. At 16 years old, that scared the out of me.
I was terrified. You're right. Yeah.
Not gonna lie on that one. Wow. Well, guys, I guess that just about does it for the live stream tonight. I think we've been an hour and 15 minutes. Been a good time tonight.
Sounds like a Stranger Things.
It does sound like a Stranger Things.
It was a little bit like a Stranger Things.
Bunch of guys sitting around playing D&D.
There's certain things in life that's like, and maybe they do it on purpose to get you into the feels, but the first few episodes of Stranger Things reminded me of my life so much. Like with you, Wes, and growing up and playing video or role-playing games like that,
Yep.
And there's that sequence in E.T. that really invokes that too. Where they're just like getting mad at one another over a dice roll. It's so I absolutely could have been an episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah, it very much could have.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't think I've got any more for anybody else. I just want to say that this last few weeks of the Sunday night live stream, where we've been, way more flexible, less scripted, has been kind of a breath of fresh air. And if you guys are enjoying those, I think there's an avenue to maybe keep the Sunday night live streams a little more conversational, and then do our deep scripted stuff as a pre-record. I don't know.
Maybe
that's possible,
but that's for us to decide
at
a later date. In the meantime, do go and check out our YouTube channel. We've been putting up a lot more content lately. I've put up we got a whole new series on the weapons of Star Wars. I know we've been talking about that one quite a bit, but it's still a fun one to talk about. And as I said at the beginning of the show, if you didn't catch it earlier, I just put up every Luke Skywalker action figure between 1978 and
so cool too,
and now, and every
cool.
every 3 3/4 inch Luke Skywalker. It's a 12-minute video. It's not going to ruin your day if you watch it. Take a look at that, and all 135 Luke Skywalkers.
Mainline.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. And there's lots more to come where that came from. So, guys, that's it for me. I hope you guys had a great time tonight as much as I did. We look forward to seeing you again next week. And, of course, online on all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And of course, right here in the comment section of YouTube or whatever platform you happen to be watching on. But again, guys, until next time, and there will be a next time for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Hank.
And we will see you on the next one, guys. Bye for now.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Fandom Power. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be talking about another one of your favorite fandoms. Fandom Power is a Sawcast production.